Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Spokane City Council briefing session for October 25th. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Council President Beggs.
Present.
Councilmember Burke. Councilmember Cathcart.
Present.
Councilmember Kinnear.
Present.
Councilmember Mumm.
Here.
Councilmember Stratton.
Here.
Councilmember Wilkerson.
Present.
Let the record reflect that all council members are present.
All right, so we'll turn to the November 1st advanced agenda. Mr. Ormsby.
Thank you, Council President, members of the Council. On the administrative session consent agenda for next week, the first item we have are a couple of items to be purchased, and Rick Giddings from our Fleet Services Department is here to brief these items. Rick?
Thank you, Mr. Ormsby. Good afternoon, Council President, Council members. Because of the need to act quickly when purchasing used vehicles, Fleet Services is requesting approval to purchase a used diesel-powered roll-off truck for Waste to Energy. We have identified a few units across the nation that would meet the using department's requirements and anticipate spending between $110,000 and $150,000 plus tax and shipping. This action will allow us to replace a unit that has reached the end of its useful life much sooner and at a much lower cost than purchasing new. Funding is included in the Waste to Energy budget. And item B, we are seeking approval to purchase 2 diesel-powered hydro excavators from SWS Equipment for the wastewater department using Sourcewell contract 122017-SCA and 060920-KTC. These will replace units that have reached the end of their economic life. The purchase price is $497,501.45 each, for a total of $995,002.89. And funding for this is included in the wastewater budget. Any questions?
Not seeing any. Thank you, Rick. Next, we have 2 items related to the Treasury Assistance Program, and these are also related to some SBOs that will appear later in the agenda. And Margaret Henson is here to brief these items.
Hello. Good afternoon. I am here on behalf of CHHS to request the acceptance of 2 new rent assistance awards. The first is a $5.4 million award directly from the Department of Treasury. The second is a $10.5 million award that is also sourced from Treasury, but it's passed through Washington State Department of Commerce. These 2 awards are the second tranche of funds from the Department of Treasury. We're calling them the 2.0 awards. They're very similar to the awards we received in the spring. There are a couple of key differences. One is they have increased the admin cap for the fund, so it's up to 15% instead of the 10% from the first tranche. And they've also added some additional flexibilities that are designed to increase eligibility. So, for example, in the first awards, you had to demonstrate a financial hardship due to the pandemic. And so for this round, a household has to demonstrate a financial hardship during the pandemic. So it really increases those eligible for the funds. They have also allowed up to 18 months of rent assistance. That's increased from the 15 months in the first round. And so these are really welcome changes. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that council may have.
Council President here. So it's been reported that the distribution of the first tranche has been quite slow, and I'm wondering what we attribute that to, and what are we going to do in the second tranche, including potentially doing a new RFP to get vendors that will get it out faster.
Yeah, so we had to go through a procurement process with the first round and stand up a brand new program. So the initial rollout was a little slower than we would have liked, but we've really ramped up, and we're out up to over $1 million that we're getting out each month. So the capacity and the operations have really expanded, and the distribution is really on a really strong pace. For this round, we're working closely with the CHHS board. We've asked them to review the current program and come up with a recommendation of how we should distribute this next round of funds and present that to all of you in the. We're hoping early next month to present that to you.
All right. Great. Thanks you, and thanks for all the work that you do, Margaret. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Councilman Cathcart has a question too.
Yeah, so I agree on maybe the need to do another RFP, and it's been suggested to me that SNAP has been really successful in the county, and originally maybe they didn't apply to help us with our distribution because they just didn't have the capacity. And I wonder, their situation may have changed, others in the community may have changed, and so I think an RFP could be a good way to help get this out and get it out faster. So just a thought.
Okay, point taken. We'll bring the recommendation back to you all and early next month from the CHHS board.
Any other questions for Margaret? Thank you, Margaret, for being here this afternoon. The next two items relate to the landslide stabilization on Clark Avenue, and Kyle Tuig, our Director of Engineering Services, is here to discuss these items with us this afternoon.
Good afternoon, City Council members. Item number 3 is an administrative reserve increase of the contract with Le Riviere for the Clark Avenue landslide stabilization and remediation work for $300,000. So this is an admin reserve increase onto the South Gorge Trail contract, more specifically, the project that is down there right now, South Gorge Trail Phase 2. And what that is just bumping up the admin reserve on that project in order to cover the portion of the work that is going to be done outside of the emergency contract for the FEMA reimbursement. This is the work that is going to occur on the private property for which item number 4, A, and B covers, which is the reimbursement agreement. So I'll go through those real quick, re-summarize it, and then answer any questions. So item number 4A is the reimbursement agreement along with the deed of trust and the prom notes for the Riverside Elms condominium. They are participating in the reimbursement of for the work to be done on the private property portion of the Clark Avenue landslide. And B is the agreement with James and Sue Elmer, who are the property owners on that, the lower portion, and that is their portion, which is $80,000. The condominium association is a not to exceed $220,000, which is basically the balance beyond the $80,000 that will be associated with that work. This is not a net addition to the previous SBO and emergency contract that we've been discussing. This is a carve out within that same total. However, in order to keep the funding completely clean for FEMA, we can't spend any money in that emergency contract for work on private property. So it's all within that same total, that 2.1 we've been talking about. It's just a portion of the work that is being reimbursed on or by the private property owners will be associated with the South Gorge Trail contract and kept clean and separate. And then the work on the private property and the right-of-way will be that emergency contract that we've already discussed. It's gotten a little complicated. We got agreements all over the place, but it's just really to keep everything very, very clean for FEMA reimbursement.
Any questions for Kyle on either of these
Councilmember
items?
Kinnear.
Thank you. Kyle, we were talking about this before the rain started, and now the rain has started. So I'm wondering, do you have to take any special measures? We're supposed to have a deluge again tonight and tomorrow and the rest of the week. So are you having to take any special measures to shore up that area so that it doesn't end up in the river or worse, on top of somebody's house?
Well, yes and no. We don't have to change our game plan. What we did do is we were going to do some of the additional site prep, remove the stumps, and prepare it for the driller but we're waiting and we're going to kind of do a just-in-time earthwork operation. As soon as those soil nails arrive on site, we'll get out there the day that they arrive and start removing stumps and building that road. So what we've done is we've kind of delayed any destabilization work. To date, we feel that we're still in a good spot. We're monitoring our survey points still to make sure we don't see any significant increase in movement. So we're moving ahead cautiously, but so far we haven't needed to change our game plan yet. And the geotechnical engineers are going to be out there on site as we begin operations, and we work from the top down, which will make it so once we get down to the bottom, we have really reduced that risk very, very, very low by the time we really need to move the most amount of dirt and rebuild that wall.
Any other questions for Kyle? Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you.
The next two items are placeholders for next week's meeting. The first includes the report of the mayor on pending claims and payments for warrants and obligations, and also payroll claims through this last Friday. And then the next is a placeholder for inclusion of the minutes of city council meetings. All of those will be filled in prior to next week's meeting. We then move to the legislative agenda, and there are a number of special budget ordinances proposed for next week. The first deals with the accounting fund, and Michelle Murray, our Director of Accounting, is here to present this item. Michelle?
Good afternoon. Thank you, Council. This is an SBO proposing to move salary savings from accounting clerk positions to contractual services for the need to hire temp seasonal with contract with Robert Hass account temps to fill these positions until we could get a list from civil service and fill the positions permanently. And since asking for this last week, we've actually had two more accounting clerks resign. So we have a further need, but I do know that civil service should be handing us a list this week, and we should be able to get full-time permanent placement by the end of November. Any questions? Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Next, we have a request to deal with the Defined Contribution Administrative Fund, and Phil Tinnick, our Director of Retirement Services, is here this afternoon to brief this item.
All right. Afternoon, Council. Thank you for having on this agenda item. This SBO will create an appropriation of $10,000 to fund legal services that were required related to an IRS audit of the city's 457 plans. That audit has concluded with no findings, no significant findings, and this will be funded by an administrative account that's participants pay into, so there's no general fund impact on this SBO.
Any questions for Phil? Thanks, Phil. And Phil will have an item later in the agenda as well. Next are the two SBOs that relate to the Emergency Rental Assistance Grant Fund that Margaret briefed previously. Then we move to resolutions and final reading ordinances. The first is a resolution approving the appointment of Carly Courtwright and Megan Stenelson from our acting Director of Human Resources is here to brief this item.
Good afternoon, Council President and Council members. This afternoon, I'm bringing forward the appointment of Carly Courtwright to the Director of Neighborhood Services position for Council confirmation. Carly Courtwright has been with this city for about 18 years. She started her career with us in the police department, and in 2015, she transitioned over to the My Spokane department. In 2020, we brought her forward for confirmation to the Director of Customer Experience position, and she's been in that role for the last year and 10 months. And then in September of 2020, she was additionally assigned leadership for the Department of Neighborhood Services. And at this time, the mayor has selected her and appointed her to Director of Neighborhood Services. So we would like to seek her confirmation. Upon confirmation, she would vacate the Director of Customer Experience position, and we would go recruit competitively to backfill that position in her absence.
Any questions for Megan? Thank you, Megan. The next item is a proposed resolution involving SERS, and Phil Kensick is still with us. And Phil, if you could cover this item.
Sure. So this is our annual review by the plan's actuary to determine what the contribution rate should be for the upcoming year. So following the actuary's evaluation of the SERS plan, they recommended an increase in the actuarial defined contribution rate from 10% each for the city and for employees, increasing to 10.25% each. So that increase would cost each side approximately $280,000 a year, and that works out at the employee level to about a $5.80 decrease in their take-home pay each paycheck. So for that $280K, though, we're able to keep the current discount rate for the plan, which saves the city's balance sheet approximately $104 million. Also keeps us on our plan to reach fully funded status for the plan and able to start issuing COLAs then on an annualized basis. So a good investment to keep the SERS plan healthy.
Any questions for Phil? Okay, thanks again, Phil. Next, we have two proposed ordinances impacting property on Dakota Street over by Gonzaga University, and Eldon Brown, the Director of Engineering Services for Development Services, is here to brief these items.
Good afternoon, Council. What's kind of happened here is we've got two old street vacations that were, one was started and we had the hearing, I should say, back in November of 2013, and the other one in, I think it was November or May of 2013. And kind of what's happened there is we had both vacations approved, subject to conditions, and Gonzaga completed the conditions. And then they just never got back to us, really, to do the final reading of the vacation. And finally, they popped up with one of them on here that somebody got a ticket on the street out there that they thought was a private street, and got back to us and said, hey, we thought these were vacated. So we've been going through our files on here, and we found two of these vacations that they've completed all the conditions to them. We just never did the final readings to them. So we're just back here really trying to clean up some old vacations and do the final readings and officially get them vacated. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Not seeing any. Thank you, Eldon. Next is an ordinance relating to the Parking Advisory Committee, and Justin Ray is here to present this item.
Hello again, Council. I am bringing forward the Parking Advisory Committee code, and so it hasn't changed since last week at all, but essentially it moves everything from 07 to 04, keeping all the financial stuff in 07, but moving all of the actual committee things to 04. Does anyone have any questions about it again?
Justin, Brian, again, last week I brought up because I thought there was a new section that set aside a reserve and allowed spending on kind of undefined special projects. And I think you thought, or you told us last week, oh, that language was already there. So I looked again today. I didn't see the language, and it looks like it's a new section. So I'm just...
It's D, Brian. So when they moved the things around, it was formerly D, and then now it's a big D, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
So look at 07, and it's D.
Okay, great.
It's underneath the Parking Advisory Committee.
Thanks. And then the other thing is...
Yeah.
Terry Pfister tells me that actually the ordinance should be C36120 instead of 1, right?
Oh, that's the one on the current agenda.
Oh.
Under hearings.
Okay.
Yeah, this one's right.
Okay, this one's right. Okay, great. Never mind. All right, thanks, Justin.
Thank you, Justin. And next is an ordinance approving an amendment to the River Point PUD, and Tammy Palmquist was here and briefed this item last week, but I see that she's also here this afternoon if there are any additional questions before the council considers it this evening. Thanks for being here, Tammy, but it doesn't look like there's any additional questions. Now we go to first reading ordinances, and Phil is back again talking about some amendments to the retirement system. So, Phil.
All right, this is my last one today. So this ordinance clarifies two things in the code. First, it's the definitions of spouse, so it now includes same-sex spouses, so we hadn't made that change previously, and also then puts less emphasis on domestic partnerships and same-sex spouses. We'll supplant that. Additionally, came to light that there was some gray area between the RCWs around probate law and our code for designating beneficiaries. So this does clarify that our beneficiary designation process does preempt those probate questions, and so just clarifying what the designation process is, and that they would do that separate from probate.
Any questions for Phil? Thanks again, Phil. Next we have an ordinance that deals with special revenue funds and internal services funds, and Michelle Murray is still here, our Director of Accounting, to brief this item.
Good afternoon, Council. Thank you again. This is an ordinance just basically a cleanup, house cleaning for the Asset Management Fund and changing its name to Facility Management Fund. And then we have some other funds out there that we would like to close out that will fall underneath Facilities Management, and that is the under freeway parking and intermodal facilities. We would like to move all of that activity into the Facilities Management Fund in their own programs. And then the last one is seeking the approval to create a special revenue fund for the first 0.25% REIT, so that we can better manage those funds and make sure that they are paid and used properly. Any questions?
Not seeing any. Thanks, Michelle. And finally,
thank you.
The next ordinance is to propose to adopt a 6-year citywide capital improvement plan through 2027. And Jessica Stratton from the city's budget office is here to present this item.
Yes, hello. So after the October 13th Plan Commission public hearing, we are ready to have the first reading of the 6-year citywide capital improvement program, or CIP, read. Any questions?
It's more of a concern. I raised this by email earlier. But when I look through the plan, it looks like there are certain items that are set out as dedicated ARPA funding, and City Council hasn't determined any ARPA funding yet. And so I'm concerned about that. I did get an email back that I'll get an answer, but I haven't gotten it yet. And then the second piece was there's several $1 million of police capital funding for vehicles, but it doesn't set out what they are. And so I've requested that we get the details on that. But on the capital plan, I just don't think it's appropriate for us to vote to say the source of funding is ARPA when we haven't gone through that process yet. So, but we'll probably take care of it next week.
Yep.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? I'm not seeing any. Council President and members of the council, that concludes the proposed advanced agenda for the November 1st meeting.
Is there a motion to approve the advanced agenda?
So moved. Second.
Okay. Get that, Terry?
Who was the person that made the motion?
I'm calling Councilmember Wilkerson got it first.
Okay.
And then who was the second?
It's a toss-up between me and Councilmember Mom.
Okay. Well, since you spoke up first.
I think Stratton was in there too.
Oh,
You decide.
all right. Councilmember Kinnear is the second. All right, it's been moved and seconded to adopt the advanced agenda. Is there any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? Any abstentions? All right, the advanced agenda is approved. That brings us to tonight's agenda. There is a note in hearings for ordinance C36116 requesting a substitute version. There was just typographical errors on that. That was circulated earlier today. Is there a motion to substitute the circulated ordinance?
So moved.
Okay, Councilmember
Second.
Burke. Okay, Councilmember Burke on the second. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed, nay? Any abstentions? All right, that's substituted. And then Councilmember Cathcart circulated a proposed amendment to the resolution on the Spokane Sustainability Action Plan. Do you want to make a motion, Councilmember Cathcart?
Yeah, thank you. And I got 3 amendments. I'll make these each separately. So I guess the motion is that we would create a page titled City Council Principles, which would precede the summary of sector strategies, likely on page 21. And the first amendment that I would propose that would be included on that page reads, quote, "No policy, strategy, or implementation proposal of the SAP shall be construed as prohibiting or limiting the generation, delivery, or use of any source of clean or renewable energy within the city of Spokane. This includes, but is not limited to, natural gas, hydrologic power, and incineration-based energy practices."
All right.
And that is my motion.
That's the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, who seconded it? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Councilmember Burke.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember. All right, now open for discussion. Councilmember Cathcart, since it's your motion, you want to?
Yep, I will speak to it. Basically, I think this is just a simple reassurance for the community. There's been obviously a lot of conversation around the role of natural gas. And I think this just provides some reassurance that while it's not in the plan that we would remove access to natural gas, that there are no plans to do so. And the courts obviously didn't allow a citizen initiative to go forward that addresses this. And so this is an opportunity for council to consider implementing that into this plan for going forward.
Any other discussion? Councilmember Wilkerson.
So there's nothing that would, in this plan, that restricts natural gas, and we don't control or dictate a VISTA as to what generation sources they could use for electricity, and it's regulated by the UTC. So tell me again why you feel we would need this substitution. I missed it. Why would we need?
Sure. So there are a couple of provisions, and I just highlighted 4: BE 1.3, BE 3.5, BE 3.6, and WR 4.5 that I think all could conceivably give the public some pause with regard to hydrologic or natural gas. And I think, again, this is just a reassurance. Obviously, the way these proposals are written is a bit broad-based. And so given the fact that there was a provision in here previously about eliminating the use of natural gas, this just provides, I think, the public an additional level of assurance that once the plan's approved and we start moving forward, that we won't reverse course on that.
Councilmember Mumm.
Yeah, my response is this seems like weird language to me to say we really don't mean this, and it speaks for itself, and it's kind of like you're again forecasting the future. Like we're never going to do this. I'm not going to go for it. But I appreciate the attempt. I know you're meaning well.
Other council commentary? Yeah, I'll just add I'm opposed to this proposed amendment. First of all, it seems to imply that fossilized gas is renewable energy, and it's not. And secondly, it comes very late in the process. Third, I don't think it's needed. There's nothing in here in the plan that purports to limit energy choices of people in Spokane. There may be outside state and federal requirements over the next 28 years, but I don't think this is particularly helpful or needed. The current plan addressed the concerns around that, I thought, pretty well, and there's nothing in it that would require that, so I'm opposed to it. But again, appreciate the engagement on it. With that, we'll take a vote. All those in favor of the proposed amendment indicate by saying aye, and if you could raise your hand just so I could see. Go ahead.
Aye.
Aye. All right, I see one aye. All those opposed, nay. You want to raise your hand?
Nay.
Nay. Any abstentions? All right.
What was the vote? I can't see Councilmember Burke up there.
Oh,
What was
okay.
her vote?
Councilmember Burke?
I was a nay.
Okay.
Okay,
And
thank you.
Okay. So that amendment fails, but you have another one. So what's your second one?
Okay, I do. I have two more, and these would be set up on the same page, same heading, etc. Amendment 2 would read any policy, strategy, or implementation proposal of the SAP that is in conflict with any of the 4 priorities identified on page V or 5 of the 2021 Housing Action Plan Executive Summary shall not be pursued until such time as both single-family and multifamily housing stock within the city of Spokane are determined to be at traditionally healthy supply levels.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Councilmember Burke seconded it. Go ahead, Councilmember Cathcart.
Yep, I will speak to this. So I think this is just, again, an emphasis on the housing crisis that we're facing right now and the fact that we've just approved a housing action plan that emphasizes affordability and choice in housing. And I worry that some of these provisions, just a couple to point out, BE 1.3, 2.3, BE 3.2, and WR 2.2, all could have impacts on affordability in our community for housing. And I think our number one priority right now should be on housing. This doesn't prevent us from implementing as we are able to provide more stock in our community, but it would delay implementation on anything that would make housing more expensive. And I think that's really important right now.
All right. Any other council commentary? Councilmember Wilkerson.
So, Councilmember Cathcart, do you think the housing action plan is kind of telling us to ignore the GMA plan or the comp plan? Do you feel like there's some conflict that there's not in alignment with that? Am I missing it?
Well, I think the housing action plan is very specific in its 4 priorities, talking about affordability and choice, more opportunity. And I think that anytime you potentially are going to make the cost of construction more expensive, the cost of housing more expensive, you're taking away opportunity, you're taking away affordability, and you're removing choice. And so to me, I think there is a potential conflict depending on how these are implemented. And then this would just be, again, I think a way to assure the public that our focus is still on housing, and we can still be environmentally friendly and do some really smart things, but we're going to not touch anything that's going to make housing more expensive for the time being.
Councilmember Mumm. Oh, you're on mute.
Pushed it too many times. Thank you. Sustainability improvements can actually save people money, like when you put in solar. So I don't necessarily think that these measures impact affordability negatively. Also, I'm not supporting this because what one person thinks is a healthy environment is another person's idea of not. So this is too loosey-goosey for me, and I can't support it. Thanks.
And I'll just add, I'm not supporting either. I'm a strong proponent of the Housing Action Plan and was excited that we added, I think, 37 some implementation steps to really get more housing stock within the city limits. When I look at the Sustainability Action Plan, it is filled with provisions that would increase housing and reduce the overall cost of home ownership over the lifetime of building and owning a home. So again, I don't see a conflict, and perhaps even the opposite. So any other comments? All right, seeing and hearing none. All those in favor of the proposed amendment indicate by saying aye, and please raise your hand. Okay.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
Nay.
Nay.
Okay.
Nay.
Nay.
Okay. So that is 6-1 as well. And your third proposed amendment, Councilmember Cathcart.
Yes, thank you. So my last motion would be to amend, again, same setup, would be, quote, implementation of the SAP will begin once a thorough financial analysis is conducted of all proposals contained within, as required under SMC 04-36040. To be complete, this analysis will also include the creation of a metric of environmental effectiveness, which will calculate the cost of each unit of CO2e avoided or reduced.
All right, the motion's on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Burke has a second. I'll let Councilmember Cathcart speak first since he's the proponent, and then Councilmember Kinnear.
Thank you. Yeah, so 04-36040 requires a financial impact analysis for the Sustainability Action Plan. And frankly, the way I read this, I think it should be in the plan itself. But what it says is that we need to be determining the potential economic impact associated with implementing and not implementing the plan. And yes, it would include negative externalities. And so I think that we should be able to look at the costs associated with all of these proposals in the plan and look at their effectiveness. And this really is a transparency, I think, for the public. So the public can understanding how the data tell us, what the analytics are telling us, and how we are going about making these decisions for implementation, especially where it's going to potentially cost either individuals, businesses, or taxpayers through investments at the city level. And so, again, I think this is just a transparency measure, but it's also one that I believe, at least in part, is required under the code.
Councilmember Kinnear.
Well, I want to know how you put a price on the 20 people plus people who died this summer because of extreme heat. I want to know how you put a price on the people who lost their homes in Malden or other areas where there were wildfires, people who died in the so-called 100-year storms that we've had, the woman who died up here when a tree fell on her because of climate change. I can't imagine that you can put an accurate price on that. And it disturbs me that this is just being funneled in a traditional financial analysis and not taking into consideration the hardship, especially for lower income communities, of what climate change is doing. I cannot support this.
Councilmember Cathcart.
I'm happy to defer to Councilwoman Wilkerson.
Councilmember Wilkerson.
I was just going to say respectfully, how would we do an analysis on a strategic plan? I guess if we'd gotten down the road and we started to look at implementing some of these, then there would be a cost. But just on the strategic plan itself, I don't know how we could move forward on that. So that's just my only concern and observation.
Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, thank you. So I'll just respond to both comments. So I think one, to me, if we really want to care about those who have been impacted, we should know that the decisions we're making are effective and that they're actually going to reduce the carbon impact in our community. And I think that it behooves us to make sure that we have all those data and analytics so that we know, hey, this policy is going to actually reduce this much carbon and it's going to have this impact on our, whether it's the local climate, the weather, the whatever it is. If we can, in fact, spot reduce temperatures, then we should, have that data to take a look at. And I would say to Councilman Wilkerson's point about how we do this, that's a great question. And I think you have to find probably a third party who can do this work. But again, this isn't just me saying we should do this. This is the council, when this was approved, I think in 2018, saying this fiscal impact analysis would be required. I mean, that's the headline, fiscal analysis required. And it says to determine the economic impact associated with implementing and not implementing the Sustainability Action Plan, which to me means everything under that plan we need to have all these specific details of so that we can compare, contrast, make good financial decisions that are going to impact our community, as well as good decisions on the environment, the climate, et cetera.
All right. Councilmember Mumm.
Yeah, I think when specifics come, that's when you do the fiscal analysis. That's my understanding of how that reads. You don't do it on the large piece, you do it when you actually have specificity. So that's what I'd be waiting for. So I'm not supporting the amendment.
Councilmember Stratton.
That's exactly what I was thinking, and that's the feedback I got when I asked some questions on this with some folks that I trust know more about this than I do. But yeah, that this is the framework, this is the plan. But as we propose different sections and methods of which we want to do things, that's when we go to that deeper level. So that's what I understood as well. If I'm wrong, somebody tell me, but that's kind of what I understood.
Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, thank you. And maybe it's just up to kind of perspectives on interpretation, but I'll just read what the section says in our code and I'll leave it at that. So it says section 0436-040 fiscal impact analyses required, and section A, the committee shall undertake financial impact analyses to determine potential economic impact associated with implementing and not implementing the plan, including negative externalities, meaning if we don't do it, what's the impact to the climate? The committee shall undertake analyses to determine potential economic and fiscal impacts associated with implementing and not implementing committee recommendations, which we're considering in this plan, including negative externalities. So my interpretation is this is really required of the overarching plan. And frankly, I think for us as policymakers, as those who hold the purse strings, it's really important for us to have all of that data up front so that we know whether we want to pursue these policies or these policies based on the cost and the effectiveness, since resources are obviously something that we don't have a lot of. So I will leave it at that to close my comment.
All right, we'll have a vote. All those in favor of the proposed amendment indicate by saying aye. Raise your hand. Okay.
Aye.
And all those opposed, nay.
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 Okay. Nay. That's 6-1. Okay. All right. Anything else for tonight's agenda before we go to the consent agenda?
Council President, if I might ask just a point of privilege, there are two proposed resolutions on the agenda this evening approving settlements. Would any council member like someone from City Legal to be present at the meeting to respond to any issues or questions regarding those? They were briefed last week in committee, but if you would like someone at the meeting this evening, one of us will be there.
Not seeing any.
No.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you.
We can do it. All right. Ms. Pfister, if you would read the consent agenda.
Reports, contracts, and claims.
Sorry, Council President, can we take number 5 separate?
Yes, we'll take number 5 separate.
Reports, contracts, and claims. Number 1, contract amendment number 2 with Jacob Engineering Group Incorporated, Spokane, to add additional funds to contingency amount and extension for the on-call sewer model support project, $250,000. Number 2, low bid of Halme Construction Incorporated, Spokane, for the Hatch Bridge deck replacement, $1,931,822, and administrative reserve of $193,182.20, which is 10% of the contract price, will be set aside. Latah Hangman Neighborhood. Number 3, contract amendments with Eder McMahon, Van Wert, and Orekskovich PC for outside counsel services in the legal matters of A, West Terrace Golf LLC versus City of Spokane, increase of $25,000, total contract amount $375,000. B, John Durgan et al. Versus City of Spokane, increase of $50,000, total contract amount $610,000. Number 4, recommendation to list the following on the Spokane Register of Historical Places. A, the Framingham Building, 1722 East Sprague Avenue. B, the Armor Building, 123 South Wall Street. Item number 5 will be considered separately. Number 6, report of the Mayor of Penning, claims and payments of previously approved obligations, including those in Parks and Library through October 15, 2021. Total $7,271,934.36 with Parks and Library claims approved by the respective boards. Warrants excluding Parks and Library total $7,065,941.10. B, payroll claims of previously approved obligations through October 16, 2021, $7,667,000.31. Number 7, City Council meeting minutes for October 11, 2021.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda as read minus item 5 indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay? Any abstentions? All right. Those items are approved, and then if you would read item 5, and we'll vote on that separately.
Number 5, multiple family housing property tax exemption conditional agreements with A, Nodo Spokane LLC for the construction of 256 housing units at parcel number 35181.0201, commonly known as 127 West Mission Avenue. B, Nodo Spokane LLC for the construction of 24 housing units at parcel numbers 35181.0501, 35181.0502, and 35181.0503, commonly known as 1335, 1331, and 1325 North Normandy Street. Item number C, Broadway Apartments LLC for the construction of 22 housing units at parcel number 35182.4811, commonly known as 1324 West Broadway Avenue. These conditional agreements will ultimately result in the issuance of a final certificate of tax exemption to be filed with the Spokane County Assessor's Office post-construction.
All right, all those in favor of 5A, B, and C indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? Okay, that was 6-1, and that is approved. And then Councilmember Kinnear, I believe you had a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, I do. I just wanted the council to be aware that I got a public records request on my text from a person who regularly watches our meetings. And I wanted to let you all know this because there are multiple ways that constituents and others can contact us, both during a meeting and not. We all have our computers open, especially for the last 2 years, because we're working virtually. So I've got my email open, everything's open. And I've got my phone because Jacoby, my assistant, texts me sometimes with things that I need to know during the meeting. Others may text with, don't forget this, don't forget that. I think at this point, because it is obviously a concern of this person, that we may need some policy around it. And I would be interested, we've asked Mr. McClatchy to look in on it, and maybe Mr. Piccolo or Ormsby as well. This is new territory. We haven't been virtual ever before this pandemic, and we're relying on all these different ways to communicate. So I would like to ask council to consider if this is something we want to do going forward, or should we set policy in our rules that either prohibit or allow different modes of communication.
All right. Thank you. All right, that brings us to the end of our briefing session. We'll see everyone back at 6 p.m. this evening. But for now, we're adjourned.
Thanks for using WebEx.